than that. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on YouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, and tuned into that as well. Hey, subscribe to this channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year, and sometimes they're even watchable. Give this video a thumbs up if you're excited about this weekend's college football games. We got some good ones. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to hit that thumbs up button. Doesn't take you any time at all, but it's a huge help to Uncle Lou. All right, it's time for the Week 13 preview. Except for the SEC teams, which I've already done. I did an entire SEC preview video. Click back one video if you want to check that one out. This is going to be other games coming up this weekend that are interesting to me for one reason or another. A lot of ranked teams here coming up in this video. As usual, all the numbers that I use in today's video, all the lines, point spreads, odds, over-unders, all that kind of stuff is going to come straight from the website over at betnow.eu. Link in the description, betnow.eu. This is the second year in a row I've been lucky enough to work with the good people over at betnow.eu. They're taking good care of Uncle Lou. Let's return the favor. If you're going to gamble on college football this season, use betnow.eu. Click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you over there. When you get yourself signed up, they're going to ask you for a promo code. Make sure you enter that promo code Uncle Lou. That's one word, Uncle Lou. And they're going to give you a bonus on whatever money you deposit. Free money! All right, let's start off with tonight's game, a Thursday night game. There haven't been too many Thursday night games this year that have excited me at all, really. I haven't even talked about Thursday night games when I've done this set of previews a lot of the weeks this season, but I'm going to do it today. Georgia's opponent next week plays tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN. Georgia Tech hosts NC State. NC State's a 1.5 point favorite in this one. This is a minor miracle. Georgia Tech's only a 1.5 point underdog here. Of course, Georgia Tech has had just a horrific season. Brand new head coach, brand new offense. I do think Georgia Tech needed to make that move away from the triple option. That's no secret. I wish they would have kept Paul Johnson forever as a Georgia fan, because you never had to worry about him beating UGA. Don't have to worry about them beating UGA this year either, but we'll see what they can do on down the road. I think this will help Georgia Tech recruiting, especially on the offensive side of the ball now that they're running more of a modern day offense. But it hasn't worked out too well this year, which I think was sort of to be expected if you're a Georgia Tech fan. You can't take a roster full of players who have ran nothing but the triple option since 5th grade, snap your fingers, flip a switch, whatever, and expect them to run some type of grown-up offense. They've looked absolutely pitiful. I expect that trend to continue tonight with Georgia Tech. Now, NC State's not a very good team either, but I can't think of anybody that Georgia Tech could play that I wouldn't be willing to lay 1.5 points, including NC State. I'm going to take the visitors here, going against one of my favorite gambling rules, which is never bet against a home team underdog in prime time. But that's what I'm doing. I can't take Georgia Tech. I'm sorry, they're that bad. I can tell you this too, whatever the spread is next week, I won't be taking them either for obvious reasons. Give me NC State, lay that 1.5. All right, moving on to some Saturday games, and probably the biggest game of the week here, right? You got Penn State on the road at Ohio State. Two top 10 teams here. Ohio State undefeated. They've absolutely destroyed every single team they've played this year. There hasn't been one game where Ohio State looked beatable offensively or defensively. They have been dominant on both sides of the ball in every single game that they've played this season. Now, this will be their toughest test. At least most people expect it to be. They do have wins over two ranked teams. They destroyed Wisconsin and they destroyed Cincinnati. Wisconsin's, what are they, 12, 13, 14 in that range there. Cincinnati, depending on which poll you believe, is somewhere between 15 and 20. So they beat two top 20 teams. They outscored those two teams approximately 75-7. Just absolutely ran over them. I don't know if this will be that lopsided. I do think Ohio State's the better team than Penn State. Obviously, they have the one loss on the road at Minnesota a couple of weeks ago, but Penn State's been a pretty good team this year. I would be surprised if Ohio State beats this team by 30 points. But I get surprised a lot in college football. This one comes on 12 o'clock on Fox, and the Buckeyes are an 18.5 point home favorite. The Buckeyes are, what are they, 10-0? They're 9-1 against the spread. They have covered the spread in every single game this year, except last week against Rutgers, when I believe they were a 52-point favorite, and they let Rutgers score a couple of touchdowns and close that spread in on them. 18.5, I think, is a pretty good number here. Can Ohio State win this game by 3 touchdowns? Yes, they can. Can Penn State play out of their minds and keep this a 2-score game? Yeah, they can. I think 18.5 is a tough number here. Home field, it matters, I think, in this game, and this big of a home field always matters, but this big of a game, 2 top 10 teams, I think the home field will have an impact on this game. I just like the way Penn State is playing. Ohio State is playing on both sides of the ball. Their offense gets a lot of hype because they put up ridiculous numbers, and Justin Fields is going to be a Heisman finalist. Their defense gets some hype too, with Chase Young coming back this week off of that 2-game suspension, so he should be well rested and ready to go after he got caught cheating and getting paid. And sitting out a couple of games. There's actually a 4-game suspension. He appealed it and got it reduced to 2. So he'll be back this week. What a coincidence, right? What a miracle how that works out. You have to sit out the Rutgers in the Maryland game, but then you get reinstated just in time for Penn State. Amazing how that works, NCAA. It really, really is. I like Ohio State to win here. I'm going to lay the 18.5. Texas at Baylor. Baylor finally lost the game last week to Oklahoma, a wild one too. They got out to a huge lead at home over Oklahoma. They were up, 28-3 at one point in that game, a 25-point lead, and blew it. Ended up losing 34-31, scoreless in the second half. Baylor, tale of 2 halves last week. First half, offensively, they moved up and down the field and scored at will, and Oklahoma could do nothing offensively. Baylor was shutting them down. Second half, exact opposite. Baylor offense never came out of the locker room after halftime, and their defense disappeared as well. Oklahoma went up and down the field, kicking a game-winning field goal in the last couple of minutes of that one to win 34-31. So they're both sitting on the one loss, Oklahoma and Baylor. This week, Baylor hosts Texas, a Texas team that's back. They told us they were back last year after the Sugar Bowl, and I agree. Texas is back to losing 4 games a year, just like they did last year. Texas comes into this game at 6-4. They're going to leave this game at 6-5. I think Baylor wins. They're at home. They're a 6-point favorite. My only concern if I'm a Baylor fan is some sort of an emotional letdown after a disappointing, heartbreaking loss last week to Oklahoma. Now, the good news, if you're a Baylor fan, you're going to get your rematch with Oklahoma most likely in the Big 12 title game. Technically, I guess it's still possible Baylor could work its way into a playoff, although it's highly unlikely at this point. I just think there's too many teams ahead of them. In fact, I don't think Oklahoma can get into the playoff either. I think the winner of the Oregon-Utah game would have a leg up over the winner of the Baylor-Oklahoma rematch, but we'll see. Point is, Baylor's got plenty of motivation to come out ready to go in this game. Texas has been decimated by injuries this year. Their offense is not very good. Their defense is worse than that. I think Baylor wins at home, lay to 6 points. UCLA at Southern Cal. Southern Cal's a 14-point favorite. UCLA, though, not as bad as you think they are. I promise. They're not as bad as they were last year. They're not as bad as they looked at the beginning of the season. In fact, several times this year, it even appeared as though Chip Kelly and this UCLA team had found something called an offense a couple of times. Can they find it this week on the road? Not just an in-state rival, an inner-city rivalry here. UCLA at Southern Cal. Clay Helton, he's probably going to keep his job. Southern Cal has found a way to be ranked this year. I think they're 23rd this week. Home favorite here by 2 touchdowns over UCLA. Urban Meyer mad as hell, took a job with Fox Sports for no reason. He took a job with Fox Sports just because they're headquartered out west, and that would put him closer to Southern Cal, which he planned on taking over in 2020. And it looks like Southern Cal is going to do the unthinkable and actually keep Clay Helton instead of going out to get Urban Meyer, which everyone and their brother knows that was Urban Meyer's plan. What a disaster. I don't know. Is Southern Cal really going to keep Clay Helton? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't know. They got to get rid of this Clay Helton. You ranked 23rd. That's amazing. 14-point favorite, 3-throw on ABC. I don't think so. I'm going to take the road team here. I wouldn't be surprised to see an outright upset in this game. If UCLA plays like they have played at certain points this season, I think they're every bit as good as Southern Cal. Southern Cal would not be ranked 23rd right now if their name wasn't Southern Cal. There's 20 other teams in America who have the same record Southern Cal does, who are better teams than Southern Cal, but they don't have the name recognition. It's the only reason Southern Cal is ranked 23rd. It's ridiculous. Give me UCLA on the road and the 14 points in that. All right, Oregon at Arizona State. This one could be interesting. Arizona State seems to pull off a couple of upsets a year in the Pac-12. Could this be the week that the apple cart sort of gets upset in the Pac-12? Oregon and Utah both need to win out, and they each need the other to win out too. That Pac-12 title game needs to be a top 10 matchup for the Pac-12 to try to get into the playoff at the end of the year, in my opinion. Right now, Oregon and Utah are both ranked in the top 10. Either of them lose another game, they won't be. And take Oregon, for example. If they went out and show up in a Pac-12 title game at 11-1, they need to be playing a top 10 Utah team. They then need to beat that top 10 Utah team to get into the college football playoff, in my opinion. And they need that Utah team to be sitting on just the one loss so that they can be top 10 and vice versa if you're looking at Utah trying to get in. They got to go on the road and play Arizona State. Not the easiest place to play in the Pac-12 and one of the longest distances you could possibly travel within the Pac-12. This one comes on 7:30 Saturday night over on ABC, so it's their primetime game. Oregon's a 14-point favorite. I'm going to take Arizona State in the points in this game. I've been impressed with Oregon. I do think Oregon is a team that has gotten consistently better as the season has gone along. They've got an amazing offensive line. Justin Herbert, of course, is playing at a high level. No one's surprised by that. He'll be one of the top picks in the NFL draft next year. They've got some good wide receivers, and they're playing pretty good on defense, too. I just have a feeling one of these two teams might go down this weekend between Oregon and Utah. I sort of hope it doesn't because I want the Pac-12 title game to be meaningful, and it seems like forever since it's been that way. It seems like a long time since the Pac-12 title game actually mattered. We have a chance for it to matter this year if Oregon and Utah can win out, so I'm kind of pulling for them to win out. Oregon is clearly a better team here. They're on the road. I expect Oregon to win the game. Upset alert, though. Give me Oregon. Give me Arizona State and the 14, but I expect Oregon to win the game. Utah at Arizona. All the same things I said about Oregon apply to Utah. They also have to go on the road this week to the other Arizona team, Arizona. Now, they draw the worst of the two Arizona teams. Arizona State clearly a better team than Arizona. Breaking news, this just in. Kevin Sumlin doesn't know what he's doing at Arizona. He probably needs to hit the road. It turns out he might not be head coach material. Didn't work out at Texas A&M, and it's not working out very well at Arizona either. He inherited one of the most exciting players in all of college football, Khalil Tate. Fast forward to now, and most people forget that Khalil Tate even exists. But believe it or not, he is still at Arizona, even though you wouldn't know that because Arizona has been in the toilet since the time Kevin Sumlin arrived there. Utah's been on a roll. They're a 22-point road favorite, and this one 22.5 actually, I think, on the road at Arizona, 10 o'clock on FS1. I'm going to say the same things, really. Utah is clearly a better team. I expect them to win this game. I'm going to take the underdog again here, though, to keep it closer than 22.5. I don't know why I just have a funny feeling about these Pac-12 games this week that we're going to see some kind of weird upset there. I expect Utah to win just like I expect Oregon to win, but I'm taking the underdog in both games and the points. In this case, Arizona, give me the 22.5. All right, that's it. That's the previews for Week 13. So, listen, next weekend is Thanksgiving. Last weekend of the regular season. So we got a lot of rivalry games coming up next week. It's going to be a great week next week and a pretty good week this week, too. Some of this stuff is going to start to shake out, right? What if Ohio State loses? It's going to be a mess in the Big Ten if Ohio State loses. What if one of these Pac-12 teams loses, right? It's going to be a mess. It's really time to start paying attention. If you're in the top 10 right now, or you've got any chance, hope, or glimmer of making a college football playoff, you're paying attention to all of these games, right, that are impacting the playoffs coming up down the stretch here these last couple of weeks of the regular season. I'll be watching a ton of football this weekend and next weekend. I can promise you that. Don't forget, we have the live show coming up tonight at 10 o'clock here on the channel. In fact, I'm thinking about starting the live show a little earlier. I might start the live show around 9 tonight. The Georgia Tech game comes on at 8, right? Yeah. Georgia Tech versus NC State comes on at 8 o'clock tonight. I might start a live show about 9. I probably won't take phone calls till 10, per usual, but maybe I'll start the live show at 9 and we'll watch some of that Georgia Tech game together, or just hang out in the comment section, whatever. We'll start the live show a little bit early tonight. So we'll see. Hit the subscribe button if you're not. Hit the notification bell, too. That's right next to that subscribe button. Even if you're already subscribed, hit that notification bell. If you're wondering how sometimes it seems like people get to the live shows really, really quick, hit that notification bell and your phone will give you an alert anytime I post a video or go live. It'll notify you in real time. So hit that bell icon there on your screen, and whenever I do go live tonight, you'll get notified, or at least you should. Sometimes YouTube screws around with that. Anyway, really appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you tonight for the live show. Have a good morning.